Aloha and welcome to this week's video. So this week I'm super excited. I'm going to be starting this piece here. So this is a stone-headed Newa or club. The stone on the top is usually made of like a lava rock or a lava stone. Being in Hawaii, it would be a basalt. I happen to have a chunk of lava rock that's in my backyard. And so that's what I'm going to be using. I don't know if it's actually basalt. It might be some other type. I just know it's lava rock. I don't normally make things out of stone, and so I'm pretty excited for this. This will be the second piece I've made with stone, the other piece being a koi. So I'm pretty excited. The first challenge I had, though, is I didn't have a piece of coal wood that was thick enough for the handle. And so I'm going to be laminating 3 different pieces of koa together. And I'm using... I'm making sure that in the center piece I have this simple piece in here, this piece of koa here. It's got the grain goes the entire length of the piece, and I did that so that it would be really strong, and because when I go to test this I'm going to be putting a lot of force on it and I want to make sure it doesn't snap. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be gluing all these 3 together. So I just put some painter's tape on my desk on my workshop here, and then I'm going to be clamping these into place and letting that sit. I was just going to let it sit for a day. I decided to give it 2 days, primarily just because of time. But now that I'm back at it, the first thing I'm going to do is mark the center top. And so the point of that is so I can keep track of it as I go to shape it down. And now that I have that marked, I'm going to go ahead and draw my center lines and start drawing out my general design. So looking at the picture of the Newa that I have here on my phone, I can tell that the handle is quite a bit longer than the head of the club. And so I'm going to start off with a little bit longer of a piece. I might end up cutting it down a little bit. I haven't decided yet, but this is kind of the general gist of the piece. The reason why I'm kind of copying the pattern on both sides is so that when I went to cut it out on the bandsaw, I'd have a better idea of where my center is and trying to avoid mistakes and cutting off too much material. And then from here, I'm just going to be general shaping with my angle grinder, and I think I have a 36 grit sandpaper. I did end up nicking my hand with my grinder. I haven't done that in years. I was just being a little bit too lazy. I wasn't being careful, and sure enough, I just nicked my thumb. What I was doing there is it's a brand new pad, a brand new piece of sand grinding disc, and so it's not burning the wood, and so I get really clean sawdust that comes off the koa. And so I just collected some of that because I was running out and put that in my jar, and I use that for mixing. It just is nice to have some extra clean koa sawdust that you can use. You can see my band-aid on my thumb is starting to fall off. The band-aid wouldn't hold, and so I super glued it into place so that would hold. Now I'm not going to be taking this down too far, and the reason why is because I'm only going to be taking this down to about what you see here. Maybe doing a little bit more work on it, but I have to be careful because the stone portion of the club insets just a little bit inside of the top of the handle material. And so I can't remove too much wood, otherwise it's going to be difficult to do that. And so the only parts that I'm primarily focusing on are the parts that are closer to the handle grip. Now I have a ton of work to do across the entire piece, but there's not too much point in me spending a ton of time on it, just because the most important piece is this section up top. I'm deciding here if I want to shorten this a little bit. I might end up shortening it, bringing it down some. I don't know yet. I'm going to be probably waiting to decide that until after I shape the stone head. Now here is the piece of lava rock. This might not be lava rock, but it most likely is. Lava rock cools when it comes out. It cools really rapidly, and so you get all of those air bubbles like what you see on here. I don't know where this is from. This was just in my backyard. So the first step that I need to do is I need to break this thing down to size. It's way too big, and I don't do a lot of stonework, and so I don't have a lot of tools for this. So I figured I would just take a couple whacks at it with my hammer here. I don't remember the weight of this sledge. I want to say it's a 15-pounder. Might be a 20. I can't remember. I'd have to look it up. I skipped all of it. I took about 20 whacks with with the sledgehammer, and it just wasn't going down. So I got my cutter here, and this is a tile disc, has diamond edged, and it cut through the stone really nice. And so I scored the stone, and so now I'm thinking, okay, now I have the stone is scored, I might be able to split it where I scored it. And so I'm just whacking it on the one side, and I tried that again and again and again, and you can kind of see I'm starting to chunk off pieces of it. It's just not removing as fast as I really want it to. I am removing some material, but man, it's just taking forever. So what I ended up deciding to do is, after whacking it a whole bunch of more times, is I decided to score it all the way around. And so around the entire lava rock, I've got now a cut that goes down about an inch deep, maybe a little bit less than an inch, but give or take. And now that I have that score that goes all the way around, I'm going to go back to just whacking it with the sledgehammer. I put the wood underneath. I know that absorbs the shock, but I didn't want to damage my concrete, and if I put the stone directly on the ground, that would absorb even more, and so I didn't do that. I finally got it broken down into a more easy to work with size. I still needed to remove just a little bit, but I'm only going to be doing so much of the shaping with the hammer. So traditionally, this is actually closer to what they would do in Hawaii. Now they wouldn't use a hammer, but they would use another hard stone, another rock, and they'd use that just to slowly take off chunks, just like flint knapping, and you'd eventually work it down. But that's going to take a really long time, and so all I'm going to be doing is taking off these major chunks, getting it roughly to a size that I'm good with, and then I have a diamond disc for my angle grinder, and I'm going to be using that to do the majority of my shaping. Which is what I used on the koi that I made before, which is a Hawaiian style adze, a shaping tool. But man, breaking up this piece of lava rock was just a pain. I was exhausted after this. But I finally got it down to a size I liked, and I have some other spare pieces that are just about big enough to do some other stuff with, so I might use those in the future. But here's what I have it down to, and you can see the circle that I drew there. So I still have a lot of material, but I want to make sure that I have enough material that I can do what I want with it. And then in addition to that, I might also, I haven't decided how high up this is. So it's too tall as it is, but I don't know yet how far down I'm going to cut it. And so I don't want to be too aggressive with it just yet. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I still have a ton of work to do. Hopefully I'll be... Actually, I don't know how much longer it's going to take. Shaping the stone is going to take forever. But if you like the video, go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment in the comments below. I do appreciate all the comments that I get on new suggestions and ideas. It's a lot of fun. Mahalo nui, and I'll see you next time.